Hello, hello. Hope you are having an amazing, amazing day so far, wherever you are in the world. I'm so glad that you're here and you are tuning into this particular Read With Me session whether you've been following along the journey with this incredible book that we're reading, The Mastery of Life by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., or maybe you just ran into this video for the first time. So happy that you're here. I believe everything happens for a reason. I believe that you are tuning in right now for a major, major breakthrough. And so stay on with us for the next 30 to 45 minutes, maybe listening in. We are on chapter 6 of this incredible book, The Mastery of Life. It is a Toltec guide to personal freedom. You are looking for personal freedom in your life. If you're looking for greater wisdom and understanding and a perspective, then you are at the right place at the right time. Okay, you can go ahead and share this video. If anybody has come to mind that you're like, this person will really value this. This person will really need this information right now. Then go ahead and send it to them. Chapter 6, The Plaza of Air, we're about to dive into. If you have the physical book, beautiful. You can continue to take notes and listen in at the same time while you're reading. Or if you're just listening in, that's amazing too. But I do encourage you to go get the book. Go to Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. on Instagram. You can see, I'm sure he has a link in bio. He's really, really awesome, very friendly, warm. And go ahead and order that book. This book is amazing. Not only you can take it everywhere, but it feels great. Or you can just listen in here, and keep this playlist in your back pocket. In the last chapter, which chapter 5, we went over the Plaza of Water. And prior to that was the Plaza of the Mind. The Plaza of Water was an incredible, incredible chapter. So many breakthroughs happened. The feedback from that particular chapter was absolutely phenomenal. So if you missed it, go ahead and take a look at it in the playlist, or you know what I'm talking about. If you listened in, go ahead and listen to it again. You can definitely put the link maybe in your notes. So whenever you feel like, oh, I need to go back to that chapter, you can always go there and click it and listen in again. So there were some awesome, awesome exercises that was shared from Don Miguel Ruiz in the Plaza of Water chapter. He went over the forgiveness letter to write, also the emotional body exercise. He mentioned working with emotions can be intense, and journaling can be particularly helpful when working through them. So that was a great exercise on page 102. But he also mentioned deep in that chapter, practice saying, I love you and I accept you. You can even say it to yourself, I love me and I accept me. To everybody else, I love you and I accept you. And he also mentions that absolutely everything inside of you and outside, you do not have to like what you accept. You just have to acknowledge it. Let the pure rushing water of your emotional body flow. Fill your cup up with unending, unconditional love. Let it flow. Let it flow. All right. If you're letting it flow, let me know you're letting it flow. Healing laughter. We talked about healing laughter. We talked about healing forgiveness in that chapter. One moment. Alexa, off. The Alexa's feeling the vibration here. She's excited as well. What else did we talk about? Emotions and past trauma. Okay. So many incredible things in that particular chapter. Purification begins and ends through love, because all the predominant elements, love is most like water. Unconditional love and water give life to everything. Another exercise was the healing, going by water, breath work, getting fresh air, connecting with air. Sorry, it wasn't the Plaza of Water, the last one we did. It was the Plaza of Air. But I'm also talking about the Plaza of Water. Both are amazing chapters. So definitely let's go into the chapters that we're about to dive into today. The Plaza of Fire. So many different plazas. We went through to recap, Plaza of the Mind, the Plaza of Water, the Plaza of Air. We're about to dive into the Plaza of Fire, chapter 7. You ready? because I'm ready. So grab your tea, okay? Grab your water, grab whatever you drink, your coffee, grab your nutraceuticals, and cheers to you. Or if you don't have a drink right now, I still cheers to you because I love you and I accept you and you're perfect. Some good. All right, let's dive right into it. Plaza of Fire. Fire is essential to human existence. Developing the ability to make fire at will kept our ancestors alive and healthy in cold climates and seasons. Today, we harness fire in the form of electricity, upon which we depend for so much of our daily lives that often we forget its importance until the power goes out. And even in our modern and plugged in lives, many of us still feel the instinctive pull to sit around an open fire at night, a cozy, wild, beautiful awe. Yet, we also know that fire is an incredibly powerful and destructive force, capable of leveling thousands of acres of forest and depriving us of our homes and sometimes our lives. Each time we strike a match or light, even the smallest candle, this awesome force is present, holding the potential for both life and death. And so we work to strike a balance with fire in our day-to-day lives. We need fire and the warmth and life it provides, but we must be vigilant to keep it from burning unchecked. In the Toltec tradition, fire represents desire and passion in all their manifestations. Fire represents desire and passion in all their manifestations. Fire invites us to understand that we are one with life, with the Nawal itself. Fire is, in short, an expression of being joyfully and brilliantly alive. But just as with physical fire, we must work to hold this potent force within us in critical balance. We need to honor our desires and passions while tempering them with the discipline required so they don't become a raging inferno of obsession. Speaking of fire, we are in the Leo season. Fire. Shout out. The Toltec warrior applies the skills of self-awareness and balance to walk this middle path. There is a common stereotype that portrays spiritual masters and enlightened people as having transcended all desire. It describes them as spending the remainder of their lives sitting in serene, unmoving, silent bliss somewhere, probably on a mountain peak. That's the stereotype. But this is not the case at all. Some are quiet, but others may be bold, boisterous, and flamboyant. They may break into spontaneous wild dancing or fill a room with their unrestrained laughter. Both types have achieved spiritual mastery, but these masters have not lost all desires. The key is that in both instances, their desires no longer control or define them. As you step into the plaza of fire, you do so with the understanding that passion, desire, and obsession are not light subjects. But when you learn to treat the fire within you with awareness and respect, you achieve not only mastery over this critical aspect of your daily life, but also the ability to burn away anything in your life that no longer serves you. Can I get an amen? Let me read that again. But when you learn to treat the fire within you with awareness and respect, you achieve not only mastery over this critical aspect of your daily life, but also the ability to burn away anything in your life that no longer serves you. Passion and desire. While some spiritual traditions teach that desire is a bad thing, particularly with respect to sexuality, the Toltec tradition recognizes that desire is fundamentally good because nothing in the world would happen without it. In fact, the Toltec cosmology, it was the desire of the Nawal that created the whole world. It is important to understand how important desire really is. When Toltecs say that it was the desire of the Nawal that created the whole world, they mean that the basic energy of life, that life itself is desire. On a purely biological level, of course, this is undeniably true. The continuation of our species would be impossible without desire. But beyond that, desire is a spark that motivates all movement, all innovation, all creation. Without it, there would be only stagnation. Fire and passion and creativity are all inextricably tied together. In fact, creativity itself would not exist without desire. Desire and passion lie at the root of every work of art that has ever moved you. Every piece of music, every breathtaking novel, every moment when an amazing achievement made your heart leap, they all began in desire. Desire drives every new seedling that reaches upward through the soil toward the nourishment of rain and sunlight. It inspires every medical breakthrough. It moves every whale to leap up out of the sea and into the air. It causes communities to thrive and encourages the thrill of new relationships. This incredible driving force, in fact, influences every aspect of our lives. For instance, do you know what activities make your heart sing? That is a question. What activities make your heart sing? When, where, and with whom do you feel the happiest? What calls you? What thrills you? This is an opportunity for you to find out and claim what brings a sense of authentic, unrestrained joy to your life. Are you doing these things regularly? If not, why not? How can you rearrange your life in a way that feeds your passions and desires? Of course, desire can become distorted when it is bound to the island of safety, your little identity. When this happens, you become attached to a desire in a way that is more about feeding your ego than about joyful wanting. This is often the case when your desires are linked to social status and material possessions. But just as you must balance your awareness of how easily fire may burn you if mishandled with an appreciation of the critical necessity and utter beauty of fire, you must also learn to relish and appreciate the sheer joy and wonder that a balanced approach to a desire can bring to your life. Sexuality. It's also crucial to acknowledge and explore the dimensions of desire and passion that include sexuality. Many of us have grown up with a variety of domestications and limiting beliefs around sexuality. And despite decades of books and powerful movements that aim to uncover and restore a healthy approach to this aspect of our lives, and there has been a lot of progress towards that goal, it still remains a difficult topic for many. Certainly, there are cultural and religious traditions that still teach that enjoying sex is sinful and unenlightened behavior. And ironically, this aversion is also reflected in some contemporary spiritual and or self-help movements. In this latter case, all sense of sexual desire is either glossed over in favor of generalities or else perceived as being associated with the body, and therefore something that must be transcended in favor of the mind, soul, and spirit. This is not the Toltec way. Our tradition sees healthy sexuality as a near direct physical expression of the Nawal, of life force and creativity. When the fire of sexuality is balanced, it is beautiful, life affirming, and a great gift. But most of us have grown up with an ingrained reluctance to talk about sexuality. This reluctance is buried deep within almost all of us, and it takes time to move through it. But it's important to learn to talk about sexuality and examine our domestication surrounding it in order to craft a future sex life free of guilt and shame. Only then can we achieve true personal freedom. Our goal is to approach sexuality with a sense of curiosity, joy, presence, and detachment, lest we fall into the trap of punishing ourselves for wrestling with these issues at all. There are two ways to explore this part of our work. The first relates sex to the act of lovemaking. The second relates sex to biology and gender. For instance, our beliefs and domestications around what it means to be a man or be a woman, or other gender expressions beyond the binary. Many people, perhaps most, create part of their identity around their sexuality or some aspect of it. And this includes asexuality and celibacy as well. Remember, this is neither right or wrong. It's just the current situation in the dream of the planet. The work in the Plaza of Fire, as in each plaza that you explore, is to apply your skills of awareness to your inner life and try to notice when and where you are attaching yourself to these identities and where they may be causing suffering in your life. Are you holding on to old ideas and beliefs that require further investigation? Question. Do some of your beliefs, assumptions, and domestications need to be changed or released? Here are some questions that may help uncover underlying domestications that relate to sexuality. Am I able to speak freely with my partners about sex? If not, why not? Do I place part of my sense of self in my sexual prowess, my level of experience, and or the number of partners I've had? Question. In our culture, this is especially common in men, but it certainly occurs with women as well, often in the opposite fashion. Do I sometimes use sex as a tool to get what I want? Question mark. This is neither inherently positive or negative behavior unless you are deceptive about it. If you do, what consequences might this have for your relationships, if any? This is work in which your journal may be especially helpful as it provides a private place where you can be free and safe to explore your thoughts and feelings around these questions fully. If you feel comfortable, however, you may also find it fruitful to engage your partner in an exploratory conversation. Ultimately, the goal is to craft a sex life for yourself that is passionate, consensual, free of guilt and shame, engaged in open awareness, and cleared of any old beliefs and domestications. The soul of intimacy blossoms when we heal the wounds that brought fear, guilt, and judgment of our own sensuality. To enjoy our sexuality is to be free to feel and enjoy our sensuality. It is also important to consider your ideas surrounding what it means to be a person of your gender. Different cultures treat gender in different ways. Here are some questions you can ask yourself to explore this topic. What does it mean to me to be a man or a woman? What are some of the ways in which my own beliefs and domestications around gender influence my behavior? Are there ways in which some of these domestications have been limiting me? Has my biological sex or gender expression become attached to the identity I've created for myself? This last question can be tricky, as associations with biological sex and gender expression are sometimes so ingrained, meaning biological, like I believe what you were born with. A perfect example of this lies in the traditional gender colors: pink for girls, blue for boys. These colors were originally seen in a completely opposite way. In the early 1900s, pink was considered the stronger color and was appropriate for boys. Blue was considered the daintier color and so was appropriate for girls. Over time, for various reasons, the color associations were switched. And now these arbitrary assignments have become so much a part of our understanding of what it means to be a male or female that a man may grow up feeling that wearing a pink shirt isn't manly. Quote. This clearly shows how the beliefs, thoughts, preferences, and ideas that are a part of the dream of the planet are all based on our agreements and nothing more. And of course, these ingrained gender agreements reach out into many other aspects of our lives that are far more profound, influencing us all in areas of career, division, of labor at home, self-confidence, skill building, etc. So what he just a quickly recap of what he's going into is like all these agreements within the world of like this color means it's manly or this is for female. That's all. It's not true and it's not real. It's just an agreement. So how are these agreements based on like what society and the dream of the planet is saying is causing any suffering within you or not allowing you to be personally free because of the limiting um, maybe the agreements that have been attached to part of your identity. Okay. And it's pretty deep as you continue to ask yourself these questions. Obsession. When passion and desire move from a well tended fire to a raging inferno, that's when we encounter the truly negative consequence of desire. Obsession. Obsession is an expression of conditional love. When obsession drives you and bends your desire and passion in a destructive direction, you may make negative self-judgments that then influence your actions. For example, if I don't get this job, I'm a failure. This is my only chance for happiness. If I'm not married by the time I'm 35, I'll be alone forever and it will prove that I'm unlovable. These and many other deeply held ultimatums can twist your desires and dreams into conditions under which you must succeed at all costs. And this is not freedom. I mentioned earlier in the book how comparison and competition can fuel the inferno of obsession. For this reason, becoming aware of your tendency to compare and compete with others can help you uncover instances in which your authentic passion and desire have become warped. In the current dream of the planet, comparison and competition are often seen as forces that help push us forward, but this is true only in the short run. In the long run, they're much more likely to lead to more self-judgment or to box you into false sense of identity, the I of your domesticated self. As your reliance on your little identity grows stronger due to comparison and competition, you're likely to resent the success of others, as though life were a zero-sum game. You are also likely to reject yourself when you miss the mark. Try to notice all the little ways in which you compete with others, whether it be at work, in your family, or in social circles. Become aware of the comparisons you make concerning material possessions, income, or physical attributes. This is a mental habit for most of us. But when you operate from this perspective, you ultimately create more suffering for yourself because it's a game you can never really win. When you play it, you lose your clarity and your sense of oneness within yourself and with others, with all living things, and with the universe itself. The key to changing the habitual behavior begins with noticing when your mind indulges in it and then bringing unconditional love to the situation instead. When you simply drop the compare and compete narrative by recognize it, acknowledging it, and bringing love to yourself and others, you begin the transformation process. And remember that we are all parts of the Nawal. I can tell you from experience that it is very possible to pursue your dreams and passions with unconditional love as a motivating force. When this happens, you enjoy the pursuit of a dream as well as the achievement of that dream. You also appreciate and accept the movement of life, even if the dream is never achieved. The free expression of desire that is grounded in unconditional love allows you to celebrate the success of others as much as your own. Toltec warriors keep their focus on the inner self and know that they get what they need all the time and that others get what they need all the time. Love that. I'm going to repeat that because you're a warrior, Toltec warrior. Toltec warriors keep their focus on the inner self and know that they get what they need all the time and that others also get what they need all the time. To be clear, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't enjoy situations where competition is used for fun, as in games or sports. I, for one, am very passionate when I play and watch sports. And the competition definitely adds an element of excitement. The difference is that when the game or event is over, the competition in my mind ends as well. I'm careful not to take the results of the game and make them a condition of my happiness and self acceptance, meaning there's a way to have fun with it, play it, use it for excitement. But when it's over, it's not like that was my identity because I came in second. Now I feel some type of way. Or because I came in first, now I think I'm the best. Okay. And now I'm happy. And if I didn't come in first, then I'm not happy. That's where it gets kind of where he's saying that's a more destructive way of competition. The key in the Plaza of Fire is to learn the art of balance. When you have a passion for something, a big yearning for it, ask yourself if it is something that primarily feeds your little self, which is your ego, or is it something that brings you joy, like really brings you joy? Sometimes the answer will be both. When this is the case, remember to focus on the joy. The gift of destruction. The gift of destruction. We all know that fire can destroy, whether it consumes a few cedar branches in a campfire or several thousand acres of wilderness. But it is also true that destruction itself is a natural and necessary part of life. For, indigenous, okay, I'm having trouble pronouncing it. Indigenous cultures of the Americas, fire has long been an important part of the ceremonial life, as well as a means to maintain the natural landscape. Controlled burning of vegetation at certain times of the year or in multi-year cycles was and essential to our stewardship of the land. It perpetuates the natural food chain and helps to maintain essential ecosystems. By contrast, many land management practices today forbid any kind of burning. Forestry services are just beginning to rethink this. However, particularly after several seasons of devastating wildfires in the West, from a scientific standpoint, there's quite a lot of evidence to support the practice of controlled burns. They clear out brush, diseased plants, and pests. They return important minerals to the soil, and they create new space in which young plants can access sunlight and water. Plus, there are some trees that only reproduce with the help of fire, like the giant sequoias. You can cultivate a reverence for this kind of destruction as well, particularly for the ways in which it prepares the landscape of your life for rebirth. Of course, I recognize that this is more easily said than done, particularly as you weather the initial stormy chaos of things falling apart, such as when you lose a job or a relationship falls apart. Nonetheless, you can gain a kind of perspective on destruction from these experiences that can offer you some solace and show you a way to move forward. For example, many years ago, I experienced a particularly profound moment of clarity in the wake of a difficult breakup. The breakup itself was so painful that it made me afraid in some ways to become romantically involved again. This is a common response to pain, and unfortunately, we can't rush the healing process, even if it hurts a lot. We have to move through the pain and allow it to move through us. This can be a kind of releasing into the fire moment. But as I discovered, when we give ourselves a permission and the time to allow the burning rush of emotion to run its course, it is often closely followed by a period of deep healing. So important. When we give ourselves a permission and the time to allow the burning rush of emotion to run its course, it is often closely followed by a period of deep healing. After such a powerful experience, our lives may not return to normal, but once we are on the other side, we often find that we wouldn't have wanted them to. Many of these painful processes help us move forward into the next chapter of our lives. In the case of my breakup, for example, I learned lessons about myself that helped me become the person with whom my wife eventually fell in love. You face your fears after a heartbreak or a loss of love by becoming even more aware that you are the source of love. It doesn't come from outside of you, you're the source. Once you remove fear from the equation, you accept the fact that sometimes people leave us, and that's okay. You can let the destruction be what it is and not try to control it. It's okay to feel heartbreak and to feel the pain of losing someone. And you don't have to make new flawed agreements driven by a fear of getting hurt again. The key is to embrace the idea of allowing the element of fire to burn away what you no longer need, and to do it consciously. What do you need to burn away from your life in order to make room for new growth? I invite you to take a moment right now and identify a single item or belief that you have used to bolster your false identity, and allow the metaphorical fire of unconditional love to just burn it away, leaving you fear and clear to embrace new opportunities and ideas. Fire is a dynamic and complex element. It is two things at once at all times: creativity and destruction. Thus, the lessons it offers are also dynamic and complex. But when you approach fire with awareness and attention to balance, you find that life blooms, opening out like a magnificent flower fueled by its natural desire to embrace joy in the warmth of sunlight. Let's dive into the exercises. Exercise, igniting the spark of life. The Nawal moves through all the elements and through all living things, but sometimes it is easier to visualize in terms of fire, as a radiant light or energy moving through your cells, or crackling raw electricity, or a dynamic rolling ball of flame and heat in the center of the earth, waiting for you to tap into it and turn it into the creative masterpiece that is your life. Through the metaphor of fire, you can feel the Nawal's motivating energy calling you to say yes to life, to dance and sing and move with exhilaration and enthusiasm. And beyond the metaphorical, you can also learn to sense this energy with your body by tuning into the Nawal and the heart of the natural world. For this exercise, find a spot outside where you can be comfortable and relatively uninterrupted for a length of time. If you can be in physical contact with an element of nature, all the better. Sit with your back to a tree or on a large boulder, or with your bare feet in the grass. Settle into the space and take a few deep breaths. Let go of any worries or anxieties that may be keeping you from the present moment. Lengthen your spine and let your head rest gently atop it, so that you feel relaxed but supported in as upright a position as possible. Now imagine that you are a connecting circuit, a conduit between the fire in the sky and the fire in the heart of the earth. Imagine a ray of energy from the sun coming down through your head and spine and traveling deep into the heart of the earth. Here, it taps into the ball of light, heat, and energy in the center of the planet, merges with it, and returns back up into your body through the base of your spine, up into your head, and out into the sky. This energy is constantly moving from the sky down into the earth and back up, in a never-ceasing dance of light and movement and pure life. Allow this energy to move out to infuse your whole body and clear out any shadowy patches or stagnant energy. And stagnant means like just stuck energy. Feel encased in a warm egg of vibrant, healing golden light. There's nothing that separates you from this energy. It exists at all times in your body and the bodies of the sun and the earth. It's just that you are now noticing it and acknowledging it. You may even feel a light tingling or warmth on your skin as your body welcomes this influx of refreshing life force energy. Stay quiet for a few minutes. You don't need to do anything. Just feel the energy move and sense your connection to the earth. When you're ready to stop the exercise, imagine the ball of life that surrounds you getting smaller until it has a tidy, radiant glow in your solar plexus. It leaves behind it a fully nourished well of energy within each cell of your body, which is then gently released back out into the sky and or down into the earth. Take a few more deep breaths, open your eyes and stretch. If you feel overenergized, as if you've had one too many cups of coffee, you can ground the excess energy by placing your hands directly on the earth and imagining any energy you don't immediately need draining out and down into the earth, where it will be recycled back into its work of nourishing and enlivening every living thing. Know that even though you've released your circuit of energy back out into the world, the Nawal is still flowing through you, and that through this exercise, any place in your mind, heart, or body that were in need of refreshment have been filled again with this rich energy. If this is the first time you've ever done an exercise like this, don't be discouraged if you don't feel anything physical or if you find the visualization challenging. The Nawala is always there. It is you, whether you perceive it directly or not. And as with other exercises in this book, you will benefit from repeating this one over time. When you have finished this exercise, pay attention to your energy levels for the rest of the day. See if you notice any differences in how you approach various projects. Do you feel excited about something new or refreshed regarding an old project? This is also a good time to stock of any goals, dreams, and other desires you've had percolating in the back of your mind, but that you may have dismissed as unrealistic or unattainable. Look at some of these with fresh eyes and see if there may be something new in them that you haven't seen before. Exercise, cultivating sympathetic joy. We talked in this chapter about how comparison and competition can change the pursuit of joy into an ego-building obsession. This exercise can help you stay focused on the joy rather than the ego. It is based on a Buddhist practice, appropriately named sympathetic joy, in which you cultivate a conscious sense of happiness and gratitude for other people's successes, wellness, and advancement. As with so many other aspects of mastery, it begins with personal awareness. If you find yourself in a situation where someone else has achieved or received something that you think you want for yourself, a material object, a job, a relationship, or some sort of social recognition, the first thing you will likely notice is that jealousy or envy arises inside of you. When this occurs, try to determine the origin of these feelings. Where do these emotions come from? Question. Is there a story you tell yourself around this issue? Question. Notice any ideas of comparison and competition around the situation. Then consider if and how you formed an identity around these ideas. The stronger the feeling of envy or jealousy, the greater the degree to which you have tied your identity to it. Now take a breath and consciously remind yourself that you and the other person are both part of the Nawal, and that we all get exactly what we need all the time. There are no exceptions to this. Finally, send the person involved intentions of congratulations and well wishes in your own mind. In other words, mentally celebrate the person's successes. This can be extremely difficult in some situations, and you may even fall as if you are faking it. You may even feel as if you're faking it. And that's okay. You are just breaking an old agreement that no longer serves you. As with other practices in this book, I hope you repeat this one often and see how you feel afterward. Soon you will likely find that your feelings of envy and jealousy lessen, and you may even end up being genuinely happy for the other person. The other benefit to this practice is that when you achieve something that someone else wants, your identity with that lessens as well. You will find that you no longer feel superior to others. Your perception becomes clear because the truth is that we all get what we need all the time. We are all part of the Nawal. Love that. Repeat after me. I always get what I need all the time. I always get what I need all the time. You always get what you need all the time. I know that you always get what you need all the time. Exercise, connecting with fire. Here are a couple of smaller exercises that can facilitate your connection to the passion and energy of fire. Sacred fire. Fire focuses human attention very quickly in a spirit of reverence and awe. That is why it's an especially powerful element in ritual practices. Even the simple act of lighting a candle before journaling or meditation can send a potent signal to your mind that something sacred is underway. The sound of a match being stuck, the flare of light and heat are wonderful symbols for new beginnings. On a larger scale, there is something ancient and exhilarating about singing, dancing, or even just sitting and contemplating around an open fire. So that's sacred fire. And to conclude this chapter, concluding with cleansing fire. As discussed earlier in the chapter, fire is also a rich symbol for the shedding of old in exchange for the new. To that end, consider performing a small ceremony wherein you write down a few items that you would like to release on strips of paper and burn them in a fireplace, fire pit, or even a fireproof bowl. The family of a friend of mine performs a ceremony like this every New Year's Eve to mark the passing of the old year and embracing the potential of the new. One year, when they didn't have access to a fireplace, they bought some flash paper from a shop that sells stage magic props and burned it over candles, which added mystery, beauty, and drama to an already powerful family ritual. Love it. What amazing, amazing chapter exercises again that we can continue to do. This is fun. So many amazing exercises. Get in front of a fire, write down a list of things that you want to shed to bring in the new, baby. So I love the examples that he gives of like a lot of our perceptions of like, let's say the forest burning and all of those things. A lot of people can just perceive it as it's horrible. But actually, when he was describing all the things that the burning of the trees and the burning of the forest and things actually are necessary for a lot of things to actually progress. So a lot of things that we might just seem as label as bad or wrong, they're not necessarily. They have, when you can see the other way and the different perspective of what good is that necessary for, then you're just grateful for everything, right? So you can always be able to see that. Super powerful, the power of fire, creativity, desire. You know, everything begins with the desire. Desire is great. Desire is beautiful. So love that. Hope you got something out of this chapter. Would love to hear your feedback. And in chapter 8, the next Read With Me session, we are going into the Plaza of Earth. The Plaza of Earth. So we've got into the water, the air, the fire, and now we're going into earth. And it's interesting because a lot of like the signs, there's earth signs, fire signs, water signs. Do you know what signs you are? It'd be interesting to find out if you don't. And something that we've learned recently, Isabel and I, is that we don't just have the one sign that we think we are based on our birthday, but we actually all have 3 signs. Okay, we have a sun sign. What was it? We have a moon sign, and we have a, I think, sun, moon, and ascendant sign. Sun, moon sign. Yeah. So we have 3 different signs, which is pretty powerful because, you know, a lot of times we just learn like, oh, we only have one sign. So which is interesting to see. Are you like a water sign? Like my birthday's in July 16th, so I'm a Cancer, which is a water sign. And then My moon sign is Leo. So that's a fire sign for my moon sign. And then I'm a Virgo, which is, I think it's Earth. I think it's Earth sign. Virgo, I think, is an Earth sign, which is I think my ascendant sign, if that's the correct. So Earth, fire, water. Earth, fire, water. I think. Let me go double check that. If Virgo's at Earth, let me know in the comments if it's Earth or something else. But I think it's Earth. And then Isabel is a Capricorn, which is January, which is I believe, a Earth sign. Then her moon sign. I'm giving all the details here. Would love to know yours if you know it. If not, you can go search it. Then moon is a Gemini, which a Gemini, I believe, might be, I forget which one. I think it might be water or air. Y'all help me out. It's okay. And then Pisces. No, Pisces is her ascendant, which is water. Okay, cool. Anyway, what's yours? So excited about these exercises. Let me know which one you're most excited, which one you're going to implement. And yeah, go ahead and share this video if you found it valuable, and someone came to your mind. You're like, I want to share this. Go ahead. And if you haven't gotten the book, go ahead and get the book, or just keep listening in. This is amazing. I can't wait to continue this journey with you. Chapter 8, the Plaza of Earth. We'll see you in the next video. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Love you. I love you. I accept you. I'm so excited because you get everything that you need all the time. And what a blessing that is. Take care and have an amazing rest of your day.